Giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem HaKodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders here. Great millstone. Peace and blessings to the Lord's hopefully elect. So with this finding out of how IUIC is changing their breakdown of Revelation, the 13th chapter, starting from 16 on down regarding the mark of the beast, as well as the whole buying and selling. If you know, in the past, he used to mock at the chip. And he used to use Revelation, I'm talking about Bishop Nathaniel, he used to use Revelation chapter 18 to say that the buying and selling was talking about the cinnamons and the gold and the slaves and whatnot, talked about in Revelation 18, and that it has nothing to do with individuals in the sense like you or me, and that we're a bunch of poor Negroes and it's not talking about us. Now he doesn't say that anymore. He threw that Revelation 18, he doesn't use that anymore in his breakdown. Now he says, oh, it's talking about the digital currency. Well, they're still saying that the image of the beast is the image of Caesar Borgia, aka who the world calls Jesus Christ. And from what they're saying, they're still not holding on to the fact that Esau Edom is going to go around the world and try to push this image again. But the question is, how will they do that, seeing that everybody in the world knows that this is a lie? Everybody knows that this is a lie. Everybody knows that the Messiah is actually a so-called black man. You know, even in Russia, they have all those icons. So even they know that truly the Messiah is a so-called black man. Heck, even we know. So what nation on the planet doesn't know this? Because they already deceived the world with this. But when you read the scripture, it tells you that they're going to give life into the image and cause many to bow. So they're trying to convince the people that they're going to go around again with this picture and deceive them and force them to bow. Otherwise, they're going to be put to death. Well, in order to push this image, you're going to have to push Christianity as well, because that means Christianity is a part attached to the image, because you're trying to say that this is the Most High or the Messiah. But like I always say, it's not going to happen, because if you know that the puppets of America, the president, all them are owned and ran, they're all controlled by the so-called Jews. And you know they don't believe in the Most High or the Son, especially not the Son. In Judaism, they spit on the Son. So that doesn't make any sense, because they're not trying to use that, and they're trying to ban the Bible altogether. So you know that's the question: how they're going to deceive the world with this again, if that's what the scriptures is talking about. If everybody knows, you know, how you going to trick them if they can already see it coming? You know what I'm saying? This is played out, because if you go to Revelation 13 and 15, it says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So you're saying that they're saying that they're going to give this life, right? But it already had once lived when they deceived the world and deceived our people with Christianity and making all these movies like Ten Commandments, all these movies showing the angels and whatnot to be so-called white. But, you know, even in these cartoons and a lot of TV shows, they make jokes and humor, and they acknowledge that truly the Heavenly Father and the Son, and that they're so-called black men, and that the angels are so-called black men. You know, you can say the cat's out the bag, so to speak. So this is talking about, in verse 15, it's talking about something that they're going to do because it's tied to the mark. See? Because it's verse 16, and he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, that no man might buy or sell save he had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here's wisdom: let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. So, you know what I should do? Read 14. It says, we'll start at 12. It says, and he exercises all the power of the first beast before him. This first beast before him, talking about the Roman Empire, right? Exercising his power. That's your senates, so forth and so on. It says, and it caused the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. So everybody's going to have to follow the first beast. And he doeth great wonders, so they make fire coming down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, nuclear bombs. And he deceiveth them that dwell in the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell in the earth that they should make an image to the beast which was wounded by a sword and did live. So they're telling you that that image is Caesar Borgia. It's not. Because verse 15 is telling you, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So it's something that has to still happen. There's an image that they're putting to life now. And the question is, what is that? Well, like we told you, today they call it, well, in the scriptures, it's talking about the first beast, talking about their system, how the Roman Empire ran, right? What I always like to do is refer to this here, but you can type this in. It says, look, Rome's transition from republic to empire. It said Rome transitioned from a republic to an empire after power shifted away from a representative democracy to a centralized imperial authority with the emperor holding the most power. So it turned into a dictatorship. It went from a democracy, which means people vote, to a centralized authority. So that's what it turned into. And now they're doing what? Central banking, digital banking, with the central bank, meaning that all transactions are going to be viewed and monitored by a central bank, like a mother base, you could say. And it tells you that when the emperor decided to make himself the emperor, he took power away from the people, and he said, now I control what goes on. And this is happening right now as because the power is being taken from the people and is given to who? The small few. You could say the 1%, the international bankers. Crash the dollar so that everybody has to go under a central banking currency, which means that now everything is monitored and controlled. See? It says, for example, under Augustus' reign, emperors gained the ability to introduce and veto laws as well as command the army. Furthermore, the emperor wielded significant authority over those who served in lower-level executive positions. No citizen could hold office without the emperor's consent. As a result of this redistribution of power, the popular assemblies that functioned during the Republic period became less important and lost power. So there's a shift in power. That's happening right now. It's happening as we speak. And this is all done intentionally. It's not on accident. This is what they're doing. They're causing everyone to fall in line and to be slaves. They're collapsing the middle class, so you're only going to have the super rich and the working poor. They're taking your rights and your freedom away. They are setting up, they're having these WEF meetings, World Economic Forums, and what are they saying at these meetings? Everybody needs to subject themselves under one rule and one order. What we say goes. You got all the people in place talking about what? You got the gates of hell, which is Gil Bates talking about what we need to prepare for the next pandemic. You got Yuval, the Amalekite, the Sodomite, saying, God is no more. Now it's time for us to decide. We need to monitor everybody's activity, and we need to monitor what's going on under the skin. Those are the exact words. He said the days of people just walking around, we don't know what they're saying, we don't know what they're thinking. Those days are over. Now we're going to be able to look at them and to tell if they're emotional, if they're happy, if they're sad. So, because he was talking about passing laws, and he said when we give out an order, we can't really tell how people really think about it because they can hide their emotions. But if we monitor under the body, under the skin, we can read their levels and we can determine who's basically who wants to rebel or who's not in compliance with our demands. These are the things they're talking about. They're all pushing towards a one rule government, one order, which in English, I mean, not English, but if in today's time, you could just say it's talking about the New World Order. But you have to know that that image is really talking about the Roman system just put back in place. And today, those words are like New World Order, Agenda 21, One World Government. They even put it on the American dollar, telling you what they're going to push, right? Under many one. And is it Nuevo Circulus Ocurum, which means New World Order? That's what they're telling you. That's what the image of the beast. Just look at your back of your dollar. So it's not this, because if it was this, then that means they would have to. That's the question. How are they going to go around deceiving us if we already know that this is a lie and the whole world knows that it's a lie? Remember, the beast and the image are tied together. So you're saying that this is the image and then the beast is a digital. The mark is going to be this, but you're mentioning digital currency. It's not making any sense. The connection is the image of the beast is a Roman Empire system. Today they're setting up the infrastructure for the Roman Empire system to come back in effect, which is the wicked elite, the international bankers. They're the rulers. They're the emperor. The world is governed by a small few, small, rich, wealthy. Everybody else is slaves and poverty. And they're going to implement the mark, all right, which is going to be that microchip to go under your skin to monitor you. And according to the scriptures, that's the greatest act of fornication, because you're giving your body over to them to be your God. And the Most High said that if you take that mark, you're going to be destroyed. You have to be specific on the two, because people can see it coming, and two, Israel's a backsliding children. So to avoid being in straits or having to make any decisions, life or death, they're just going to take it and say that, well, my leader told me that it's not the mark, so I'm going to take it. And they will take it, and they will use your name to say, well, you told me it ain't the mark. Doesn't matter if you're not going to tell them not to take it, because you know what IUIC going to say in the end, well, we never said to take it. Doesn't matter. They're going to say, you told me that this isn't the mark, so I'm going to do it to save my life so that I can eat. And then that's blood on your hands. That's why you have to be very specific on what it is. It's not this image, because this isn't going to deceive anybody anymore. Edomites don't even believe this anymore. But what it is everybody is them giving way to say everybody needs to agree with our plan. Everybody needs to agree with this global saving expedition, this what do they call it?